fiance of Shahan. She is a speaker, she is an entrepreneur, and Oprah has called her the voice of the next generation. Please welcome Reshma.
You got that daydream look in your eye, and I got that red lip classic thing that you like, and when we go crashing down, we come back every time.
And we have a quick little video, please, to start with.
I'm Reshma Thakkar.
Well, it's good to meet you because I've watched you.
It's Reshma, the girl from Chicago.
It's Reshma, who we just showed. She's very successful. She's got a great job. She says, what is it I love?
Reshma Thakkar, born in Michigan, was a successful...
Reshma Thakkar, she's a young Indian American from Chicago. And 3 years ago, she had a successful career in IT. She was in the top 3% of women earners in her field.
Reshma speaks for the voices of an entire generation.
Reshma Thakkar.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So I'll tell you, perfect. I'll tell you a little bit about my story and why I was on this show with Oprah and had this amazing opportunity. Like a lot of people you guys have heard about this week, I had an incredible career. I came from a great family. I had a really great upbringing. But when I reached my late 20s, I started feeling like I had kind of given into other people's dreams, other people's ideas of what I should be doing, and it kept eating away at me. And I was like, you know what? I'm meant to do something more. I want to have an impact on the world. And the career that I had just wasn't allowing me to do all of those things. And so I stuck with it, and I was, like she said, in the top 3% or 5% of women earners in the country, and I reached my peak. And at that point, I was just so burnt out, so stressed out, that I was like, I can't do this anymore. And I ended up buying a one-way ticket to India. I got rid of my house. I got rid of my car. I let go of everything that I was comfortable with, and I just decided to dive in and figure out what it was that I really wanted to do with my life. So I went to India, and Oprah's team followed me. They actually found me 2 weeks before I left, and I was like, are you sure you want to highlight my most confused, messed up part of my life and share that with the world? Because I could show you something different. But they felt that there was a message in that. And I think, as a lot of people have spoken about, it's a journey that those of us that are meant to do great things, and it's all of you in this room, that's a journey that all of us need to walk. So they wanted to share that. And so I ended up doing this, and I decided to start a social enterprise with women and girls in India, and they make these beautiful handmade products. We sell them here, and then we use that money to empower the women who are mothers of children, and we're trying to break the cycle of child marriage in India, which is rampant still in this day. We're in 2016, and they're still taking girls out of school at the age of 11 and 12 and getting them married, and they're having babies at the age of 13. Imagine all of you in here could be having 2 or 3 kids by now. So that's what I'm really, really passionate about. I'm so excited that I get to do this now full time. And then I also have the opportunity to speak. So it's been really, really cool. And the experience with Oprah was, I don't even know how to put it into words, being able to rub shoulders with her and travel with her and talk about this show. So I wanted to share with you guys, I was thinking about, well, what can I share with a group of 400 people that are going to be the next world changers. I really am so excited to be here because I feel like I'm looking at a crowd of people that if I were to just follow you for the next 10 years, the next Richard Bransons, the next Steve Jobs, the next Oprah Winfrey's are gonna come out of this room because you guys are starting at such a young age, and you're so incredibly lucky and you're so incredibly smart for sitting in a room like this right now. So I just wanna give you props for that. So I wanted to share with you some of the things that I wish I had known at 13, 15, 16, 18, and how it could have maybe changed my life and made me do the things that I love a little bit quicker, faster, sooner. So I want to start with be curious, and we've talked about this a little bit this week. One of the reasons I ended up in the position that I did end up in was because I didn't ask questions, and I didn't question the things that people were telling me were true. So whether it came to the definition of success, whether it came to the definition of wealth, of relationships, of health, all of these things, I had to go through the process of figuring out, okay, you know, these people are telling me that you have to be a doctor to be successful, or you have to be a lawyer or an engineer or have a 9-to-5. And I needed to figure out for myself that that wasn't true for me. I didn't agree with that. Really, like if I looked at the core of myself, I didn't feel that was true. I saw people all around me doing amazing things, changing the world, and they were doing it in a completely different context than what I was being told was considered successful. So what I want to encourage you to do is really be curious, ask the questions. Again, I think on Tuesday it was Preston and that panel that was up here, they were talking about really digging deep and figuring out what do those things mean for you. It doesn't matter what anybody else tells you, but decide what it is for you and then go after that. So question your, you know, all of the things that people are teaching you about beliefs and all of these things we're talking about. So don't accept what other people are telling you without analyzing it for yourself. Ask the really hard questions and figure out what's true for you, and that's the only thing that matters. Number 2 is be positive, and this one is so key and so critical, especially where you guys are right now, because it will change the trajectory of your life. So think and speak positively about yourself, number 1. And I know it is so easy. When I was a teenager, I dealt with confidence issues and all of those things. And I was more hard on myself than anybody else in the world ever could have been. And so this is the number 1 thing. Forget about anything else, but think and speak highly of yourself and think and speak positively about yourself. And then also do that same thing to others. You know, again, when you're in an environment where it's really easy to cut people down, to think negatively about other people. You know, for me, when I think about how I felt in my confidence and self-esteem, it was really easy for me in my mind. I never did this out loud, but in my mind, it was easy for me to make judgments about the people around me. It could just be a random stranger on the street, or it could be the person sitting next to me. And it took me a few years to figure out that I didn't really like that chatter that was going on in my head, and it was really not making me any better of a person. And so I went through the process of, you know, really catching those thoughts and changing what I was thinking and what I was seeing in the people around me, and it changed my life. Like, I'm telling you, it changed my life, because now I literally, when I see someone, I immediately, just naturally, it's become a habit, I see the best in that person. I see good things about those people. I see beauty and incredible things around me all the time, and that makes the world a much, much more enjoyable place. And then think and speak positively about situations and outcomes. Again, you know, you've got so many opportunities, so many experiences coming your way, and just really expecting the best, wishing for the best, hoping for the best, and expecting the best. And you will get it. So just having that positive mindset can really make all the difference. And then number 3 is be you. I want to just do a quick experiment. Can I get a volunteer? Yeah, can you come up here for a second? What is your name?
Anna Shell.
Anna Shell, okay. How many of you in this room have either interacted with her, have met her, have observed her from a distance? Okay, I want you guys to stand up because this is really key. I put on here that you're a blessing to the world, and this world is exactly the way it is because of who you are and your presence here. Had Anna Shell not been here this weekend, had she not been in this room, every single one of you that's standing up right now would have had a completely different experience, right? Imagine from the moment you met her, the trajectory of your experience went a certain way. Had she not been here, it would have been totally different. Do you guys agree? Okay, so I want you to keep that in mind. Just keep this in mind, because when I say that the world is absolutely in need of you, your gifts, your presence, you do make a difference. I mean, just look at the room, right? You've touched this many people. You've impacted this many people's experience. Now take that to the world, take that to the globe, the people in your life. So when I say be you, it is so critical, it's so necessary. The world needs you. So just remember that it's absolutely a must. Be yourself. It doesn't matter if you feel like you're different. Just let your special, unique gifts shine into the world and look at what you do. right? Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
You had a huge impact. Oh my gosh. That was like the whole room. And I love this quote. The biggest challenge in life is to be yourself in a world that is trying to make you like everyone else. So it's a great quote. This is one of my favorites. Talk to strangers. So I'm going to tell you guys, I love to travel. And when I say I love it, I mean, I think I visited, in like 4 years, I think I visited 20-some countries just for fun because I had that opportunity and I was obsessed. Like the travel bug was crazy. And one of the things that I love about traveling is getting to know people that are quote unquote different than me and seeing the world through the eyes of other people that may have different experiences, may have different expectations, may have different just lifestyles. And instead of going into it, you know, I really would go into it thinking like, I just want to see what it feels like to be them. And your awareness of the world around you, the way you see the world, the way you interact with people really changes when you go into a conversation, go into an interaction with somebody else that you don't know with the excitement and interest in knowing who they are as a person. And it really unites humanity. It brings us together. It allows us to be more connected. And so I know your moms probably told you when you were little, don't talk to strangers. Have some discretion, but definitely talk to strangers, talk to strangers, talk to strangers. And if you can travel, do it all day, every day, oh my God, it changes your life, it changes your worldview, and it really broadens your understanding, and at the same time you realize that the world is a much smaller place than you could have ever imagined. I'll tell you a quick little story. I think it was last month, I was in an Uber in the Bay Area, and one of the things I really love to do when I'm in an Uber, it's really easy to be on my phone and like talking to people on the phone or whatever, and I've made it a point to put my phone away and just have a conversation with the Uber driver. And I had a guy who was from Turkey. And I've traveled to Turkey before, and the guy was telling me I'm from a town called Kuşadası. Now, most people, when they go to Turkey, they've been to Istanbul and the bigger cities, and I had happened to go to Kuşadası. And I was like, oh, I've been there. It's a really beautiful place, and we were talking about it, and I was like, I have a couple friends there because I made friends while I was there. And he was like, oh, who are your friends? And I told him about a guy named Erkan. And he's like, well, where did you meet him? And I was like, I met him at a bar down by the water. And he goes, oh my gosh, I think I know him. And I was like, we are 1 billion miles away. There's no way that we know the same person in another country, in a small town in another country. And I kid you not, he took out his phone, showed me a picture of my friend. And I was just like blown away at how small the world was, how connected we really are, and all because I put my phone away and just had a conversation with somebody. So this is one of my favorite things to do. And then the next thing, again, I think we've been talking about this throughout the week, but just saying yes and being open to new experiences, new opportunities, you know, just being okay with the discomfort and the unknown, and being okay with, you know, the uncertainties that come along with new experiences. So saying yes, that gives you the opportunity to live a really full life, an exciting life, good or bad, it's fun, live it to the fullest, and then it really gives you an opportunity to discover who you are and what your passions are, and eventually what your purpose is and why you're here, what you want to do with your life. So the last thing I want to leave you guys with, and then I'll take some questions. Actually, you know what? Let me do questions real quick, and then I'll tell you guys about this. So are there any questions or comments or anything else that I can share with you guys? Yes.
Hi, ma'am.
Hi.
Thank you so much for being here today. Absolutely amazing wisdom. I'm so grateful.
Thank
Something
you.
that I learned at LEAP is that we are only 7 people or fewer away from meeting the person we want to meet.
Yes.
And it just so happens I want to meet Oprah Winfrey. Just so happens. It just so happens I wanted to meet her all my life. And I know that when Oprah first met Maya Angelou, she asked her for a 5-minute interview. I would hope that you can be my first person, my number 2 person to meeting Oprah, so that maybe I can get a 2-minute interview. Is that possible?
Absolutely. I'll connect with you after.
Hi.
Hi.
So can you tell us a quick story about the most impactful country that you ever visited?
Ooh.
And what is the biggest lesson that you took away from that experience?
All right. Well, geez, my most impactful. So I've had a lot. I guess if I had to pick one that really stands out in my mind right at this moment, when I did this experience with Oprah on Belief, before I did the trip to India, I did a solo trek in the Himalayas in Nepal. And again, keep in mind, I was at a point in my life where I was burnt out, and I needed to just completely get away. So I was like, there's no further place I can get than the mountaintops in Nepal. And so I did a trek by myself. I had a female guide just for safety. And it was dead of winter too. So I didn't train, I didn't plan this. It was like a last minute thing. But I was like, I'm just gonna go for it. So there was nobody on the trails. And I went to about 5 different towns, and at the highest point, it was freezing cold. Nobody in their right mind would be up there, but I was there. And so obviously I was the only person staying at this lodge. And there were about 15 staff members at this lodge that were there just to take care of me because there were no other guests. And I was just like, this is so bizarre. Like, I am not comfortable having this huge staff of people serving me. I just want to like hang out. They're all my age, maybe a little younger. And so I told my guide, I was like, this feels really weird to me. Can we just like drop the roles and just have a party? And she was like, what? And I was like, let's just have a party. And she's like, what do you mean you want to have a party? These guys work here. And I was like, yeah, but nobody's around. Let's just have a party. And I kid you not, we turned the dining room, we moved all the tables to the outside of the room, turned up the music, and we had, I wish I had the picture up here. We had a dance party. We couldn't speak the same language. We probably didn't listen to the same music. We just plugged in an iPod and we just partied. And at that moment, I was like, man, if this is silly, but I was like, what if we started every meeting with a dance party like this, and you break down those barriers of like who you are and where you're from and how you got there. It really doesn't matter, because in that moment, even though we couldn't talk to each other, oh my God, my heart was like wide open, and we were like a family. And I keep in touch with those people now. This has been 4 years, and they're still my really good friends. And my parents just met one of them when they were in Nepal 3 weeks ago. So that would be one of my really, top memorable moments. All right, and then the last thing I wanted to leave you with, I just wanted to give this to you guys. I was gonna launch this later this year. I don't know if it'll go forward. It's not going. There we go. I was gonna launch this later this year, but after being in this room for the last couple of days, I thought you guys might benefit from it. It's something free that I did last year right after the show, and so I decided to launch it just for you on August 15th. And I think it'll be something really cool for you after you've left LEAP, just to keep your inspiration going. A lot of the teachers, I interviewed 8 different teachers on this series called the Belief Explorer Quest, and there are people that have been mentioned up here on the stage. So people like Marianne Williamson, Don Miguel Ruiz, all of these thought leaders that have written books, and they're great teachers. So it might just be a nice way for you to keep the inspiration going and stay connected to this kind of community in a couple of weeks. So if you want to take advantage of that, it'll be August 15th, and you can sign up at beliefexplorerquest.com.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. That was awesome. Thank you so much. I'm going to help you down.
You know what? I'm going to grab, can I get a quick selfie?
Yes, she wants a quick selfie. Can you guys put your arms up for her?
I'm going to take a video. Whoops,
A video selfie. Here we go. I am a 10. I walk like a 10. I talk like a 10. And Reshma's a 10. Woo!
Thank you so much.
You only have one of those.